In this video, I'm going to try to show you why I work on an anvil that's made up predominantly of curved surfaces. Now, I've been working towards this idea for a number of years. The first anvils that I had that had rounded corners, it wasn't by choice. I was after the sharp, square-edged anvil that everybody else was after. But I began to realize that the rounded corners were a distinct advantage, especially for the ornamental ironwork that I was interested in doing. So even though I've had anvils that have had rounded corners that seem excessive to most people, this is the first time that I've actually ground an anvil to a specific shape that is designed to give me all the radiused edges that I'm looking for. So basically I've ground this anvil down so it can do one specific job very well. So if you're interested in doing decorative ironwork and you want to benefit from the advantages of working on an anvil that isn't flat, what I would recommend is for you to do exactly the opposite of what I've done here. And that is to use an anvil block that fits into your hardy hole. And this anvil block will have all of the edges that you don't want to have on your main anvil. So in my case, this anvil block has all the square edges that I don't want on my anvil, but you can build it with all the large radiuses that you don't want on your anvil. So that way you get the best of both worlds without changing the shape of your main anvil. So why is all this important? Well, the really nice thing about blacksmithing is that it allows you to change the shape of the material that you're working with. So take for example this simple thumb latch. It started off as a short length of square bar, but every inch of this piece has been forged, so the original cross section of that square bar is nowhere to be found anywhere in this piece. As well, this thumb latch is a pretty good example of how radically sometimes the cross sections can change within the piece. And once you start changing the cross sections, you need to start thinking about the transitions between those different cross sections and how they flow together, and that usually involves some type of curved surface. Now you have two options to produce those curved surfaces. The first is to use some type of a forming tool, but that usually requires an extra set of hands. And the other is to develop some kind of a surface that you can hammer on that naturally produces these curved surfaces. So that's what I've decided to do because I rarely have anyone to help me while I'm forging. Here's an example of a detail that was forged around the largest radius on the corner of my anvil. This radius is also found on the horn, but the problem with trying to forge something like this around the horn is that the rounded surface tends to want to fuller that area right underneath my left thumb, so you'll develop a thin area there right after the round corner. Having the entire shape resting on the anvil allows you to work very quickly without any danger of developing thin areas. Here's another example with a transition that has a much tighter radius. I simply slide the piece back to find the radius that I'm looking for. Once again, if I tried to hammer this over the horn, it would be really easy to thin out that neck area just in front of the handle. On the other hand, if I tried to hammer this detail on an edge of an anvil that was too square, it would simply gouge in the underside and I would lose that nice transition. And again with this piece you can just see how the curved face of the anvil just lends itself to shaping this detail. The curved surfaces are also ideal for drawing down a bar. Here I'm using a piece of high density foam so you can get a good look at what's actually happening on the edge of the anvil when you hammer a bar into a sharp surface. If I tried drawing down a bar on a sharp corner like this, I would be creating a series of stair steps along that bar, and they would be very hard to hammer out because the sharp corner has a tendency to drive in a lot deeper than you need it to. On the other hand, if I switch out this sharp edge for another edge that has even a slight radius, you can see how that problem is eliminated. This is still a pretty aggressive fuller, but at least it's moving metal without gouging the work. And of course all the radiuses on the edge of the anvil that I have allow me to dial in exactly how aggressively I want to draw out a piece. By raising the work off the face of the anvil, I'm able to work more on the edge, and that allows me to move a lot of metal very, very quickly. On the other hand, if I lay the piece back down on the anvil, I'm hitting a broader surface, and that allows me to make very, very minute adjustments to the length and end up with a surface that's relatively flat. So that's the basic idea of what I'm doing when I'm hammering on my anvil. So as you watch the various videos, you can see how I use the different sections to get the results that I want. Hi, I'm Dennis, and thanks for watching. If you like this video, by all means give it a thumbs up. If you want to support this channel, you have a couple of options to do that. The first, of course, is to just subscribe. Secondly, if you have any suggestions or photographs of things you'd like to see on this channel, send them along and I'll do my best to turn them into a video. If you want to lend your financial support, you can do that in a couple of ways. First, if you're interested in making an ongoing contribution to this channel, just click the Patreon icon and it'll take you to my Patreon page, and you can donate whatever amount you feel comfortable with. If you want to make a one-time contribution, just go to my channel homepage and click the donate button in the banner. So thank you for your support, and with your help I'll be doing this for some time to come. I'll see you next time.